your skin health now, 2 years post cap in Toronto, colder climate, hot in the summer. How are you doing?
Topical steroid withdrawal is impacting lives in so many terrible ways. People are desperate for help, desperate for support outside of time being the only healer. They're seeking help from cold atmospheric plasma treatment. You can hear their stories here.
So I'm here with Michelle, and Michelle is a fellow Canadian out of Toronto, and we have Midnight Runners and my cousin Safira to thank for this connection. It's such a pleasure to sit with her today. She's taking time out of her Friday evening before her weekend to do this. She's 2 years post cap, and I think it's just such a beautiful opportunity to hear about her experience, both her journey through TSW and her experience through cold atmospheric plasma and what her life is like now as she lives in the cold city, Toronto, but really, really hot summers. So with that, I just want to say hi, Michelle, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
So, Michelle, let's just jump right in. TSW happened to you. Can you give us, there's a lot of information on your IG. I know you're not super active on your IG, but there's a lot of information there. People can just go and see like kind of your history. But can you give us like a quick 30 seconds to a minute? TSW, eczema, CAP. How did you get to CAP? What happened?
For sure. So I think I have the classic story of having eczema as a child, growing up using topical steroids. Teenager started like the eczema started showing up on my face. And then at 24 years old, I realized I was going through TSW. So I went through probably years of TSW, if I can do math correctly, 2 to 3 years of TSW, like still living my life, still working. And work brought me the opportunity to move to Asia. So I moved to Asia for work and coincidentally, found CAP therapy or CAP, and went and received treatment from Jay. And that was really what started my journey through CAP and my ultimate healing, of TSW. So that's like a recap. I probably skipped like so many steps.
There's so much in the like eczema, TSW elements of all of this, but I wanted to ask you, you get to the CAP, appointment. You're there for the first one. What did you learn about your case? What did you learn that you're gonna or you've been grappling with that you didn't even know about?
So much of TSW was like navigating it was through intuition. So, for example, I stopped using moisturizers probably 2 years into TSW because I just felt like I wasn't reacting well to it. It was stinging. Like I did feel my skin get harder and it didn't feel like it was like moisturizing my skin. So, doing stuff like that was very natural. But when I went into like the um, initial intake with Jay, I learned that I really shouldn't be moisturizing, not even with moisturizers or shea butter or anything natural per se, because that was still causing like hardened skin for me. And I remember going to like my first treatment and like my arms were super rough, like scaly and hard.
Relatable.
Yeah, right. And I remember Jay being like, yeah, that's hardened skin. Like we can smooth that down. And I was like, what? Really? Like that's a possibility. Like I was pretty shocked. And I think just learning about the cycles of TSW was really interesting to me. I remember him like drawing a like chart of how, over time your flare-ups will be, less severe and the flare-ups will be less frequent over time until it sort of like phases out. And I always like remembered that because I related to it. I was like, yes, I've been experiencing that. And even throughout TSW and CAP, that's what was happening. And it kind of like also gave me hope because with every flare up, it can be so devastating. It can feel like we're taking like 10 steps back. But then I just remembered like it's just part of the process. We're just going to keep doing it. And it really is less severe. It's just we always forget how bad it was. Um, So yeah, the initial intake I thought was really interesting. I think we spent like 1 hour or 2 hours just going through my history, going through like my medication, the symptoms I had, um, and yeah, just my TSW journey, getting all the details there.
And you had how many, roughly, how long were you doing CAP for?
I think I did CAP for like a year,
Okay.
probably like 36 or so treatments
Okay.
because yeah, I had it severely on my face. I had a lot of like wounds, like really just long, like I don't know, I had an open wound on my cheek for probably years that was just so difficult to heal. And then I just got like maintenance near the end before
Okay.
I left Asia.
Okay.
So yeah, I would say around then.
Okay. And how do you, I wanted to ask you because for me, I have like a very vivid memory of how it felt after the first CAP treatment where things really changed for me. So I wanted to maybe try to jog your memory. I know this is some time ago, probably like what, 4 years ago now. Um, what's that memory that you could share with our viewers of like that time that things really shifted for you?
Okay, so for me, I didn't see a big shift on the first treatment, to
Okay.
be completely honest.
Yep.
And that was because I was dealing with a bacterial infection um, during that time frame. So, like, I remember, man, it was my best friend's wedding. She got married in Brisbane, and I just had um, like I had a flare up that was like here and all over my face, my elbows, like it was raw, it was oozing, it was like it was bacterial infection. I was taking antibiotics at that point as well, and I had gone for the CAP treatment, and the challenge was getting through that infection first, and then be able to see the healing from there. So a little bit of a hurdle in the beginning, but they were really upfront. Like Jay and the practitioners were super upfront that like it's going to be challenging because I had so much open wounds. And I took Protopic or I applied Protopic as well as topical steroids, and that tends to be more challenging for the skin. But I think what I noticed when things started turning around was the oozing stopping, which was so big for me because that was, I think, one of the most challenging things for me. Again, my cheek, my elbows, I had a lot of wounds that would just ooze, especially in like the humidity of Asia. I would like stick to clothes, my hair would stick to my face. But I just remember when those wounds started getting smaller and like the ooze would stop um, because it was just it it was just more comfortable.
Yeah.
Um, and I don't know, that's like the only way I can describe it. It was just more comfortable. It provided hope, and the treatments actually got more comfortable as well.
Ah,
So
interesting. I know a
that
lot of
helped.
people with
Mm-hmm.
open wounds struggle with showering. Do you have any tips for them as they navigate that? I was talking to someone just yesterday who's here.
Man, I remember Jay in the beginning of my treatments. um, I wasn't advised to take that many showers.
Yeah.
It was near the end when we were dealing with like the hardened skin, and it was like getting rid of the hardened skin, exfoliate lightly in the shower. You'll probably like hear this, like rub the hardened skin a little bit. That was still really mentally challenging for me. So I would remember um, I had a separate room where my bathroom was,
Mm.
and it would be like a 45-minute ritual because I would turn on music, you know, I would hype myself up because at that point it was like most of my skin was okay, but there were still areas where it would like sting, or I was scared that I would sting. Like it was always just I didn't know what would happen. And so it'd just be a ritual of like half an hour being like, okay, we're gonna get in the shower. And I found that like cold showers were better for me. It
Yeah.
would sting less.
Yeah.
And yeah, and then I would just I don't know if I have any like good
No, but
recommendations.
you talk about this routine, this 45-minute routine. My roommate and friend, she has open wounds. She did have open wounds. And so that sort of protocol also helped her. She'd turn on the air con, do her breathing, her meditation prior to going in, have the red light ready, so it's sequencing. And so there are tips and tricks to kind of make it easier. I wanted to ask you,
Yeah.
will that
Yeah.
atmospheric plasma treatment like integral to your healing? Could you have healed naturally? I was curious about that.
To me, I think it was integral. I think in the beginning, I went through TSW without any like treatment, doing a lot of like NMT, no moisture treatment, doing red light. I depended on red light a lot and even blue light when I felt like I was like, I don't know, getting infections. But two reasons why I think it was integral. A, it got me to the finish line. Like, I don't know if my wounds would have healed the way it did without CAP because I dealt with it for years. Like, it was 1 year, 2 years of open wounds. And I really like it's hard to look back and be like, could I have healed? I don't know. But I definitely think it accelerated my healing. But secondly, it was just being able to see Jay and being able to see the practitioners week after week, that was really helpful for me.
Yeah.
Like having somebody understand my skin and tell me when I need to go into the GP to get a round of antibiotics because my skin was infected, you know, giving me warnings when my skin looked like, it was going to go into infection, being like having some reassurance of my flare ups and being like, it's okay, it's just a cycle. Come in, next week, it will be okay. Rest, sleep, giving that advice and recommendations, but also follow ups every single week was really game changer for my health and my mental health support as well. Um, so I think it's like twofold. It's like the technology itself that was made for wound healing, like the basics of it. It was used to treat people with like diabetic um, non-healing wounds.
Yeah.
So the technology itself, but also like the support that came with it, that we don't see from like normal GPs and our dermatologists. So
I think that's a good pivot to irritant exposure, like how we talk about irritants. So there's chemicals, there's pollution, there's other, fragrances. How integral has it been? Does it currently impact you? 2 years post cap. Where are irritant exposure in the grand scheme of the healing journey, both for TSW patients and then CAP patients?
yeah, so irritant exposure, I'm probably the worst person to ask during TSW because I was traveling so much and I don't think it helped me at all.
Pre-cap.
But
Yeah.
yeah, like during CAP, pre-CAP, like
Yeah.
I was traveling a lot to like Bangalore, work, Vietnam, Indonesia. I was always in hotels. Like the air and airplanes weren't great, but there was a balance that needed to be had between me living my life and me dealing with my TSW. But I do know that during like CAP and even now, I'm very sensitive to like fragrances that are um, like car fragrances or home fragrances.
Mhm.
Still really sensitive to that stuff. Um, Chemicals, um, I felt less affected by that, to be honest,
Okay.
for irritants. Um, Air conditioning was a little bit bad for me. It was like the wind.
Mhm.
And I don't know if that is an irritant. But today, I'm not affected by it, to be quite honest. I think during CAP, actually, when it was most challenging was when I was dealing with hardened skin and like um,
Yeah.
making it smoother because hardened skin was almost like a protector. And I think Jay explained this to me in that way. Like it's almost like a protector. And once we like remove that layer, your skin is actually way more sensitive.
Yeah.
And it's
That's
absolutely
the phase
true.
I'm in now. So, sorry to interrupt you. That's the phase I'm in now. So it's like now I just stay inside,
Yeah,
which is
stay
possible.
inside.
Mhm.
As much as possible. Exactly. Just to like give your skin like slow acclimatization, essentially. But now my skin is like, yes, it's dry at times. My legs are great. I don't know, like my legs just recovered totally. I think my arms are like a little bit dry here and there. You can see like my um is this hypopigmentation on
Yeah.
like both my wrists.
Yes. Yeah.
But I mean, I never used to shave before, like ever, like during when I had eczema, TSW. Now I shave and I'm like, okay, this is not bothering me at all. Like I put on perfume.
Oh,
I know I put on perfume. I know. I like it's just started this year, but I started applying like normal lotion because I
wow.
don't want to walk around with like ashy knees, you
Yeah. Yeah.
know?
Yeah. So enough of your
And that
hardened
is
skin
fun.
is gone for you to be able to do that. You are like hardened skin free, essentially.
Hard and skin free, 100%.
Well,
Yeah.
I think
Like
I
my
have to say
yeah.
to you, you look amazing. Like we all, I know the people that are watching that are going through CAP, going through TSW are all going to sort of say like she looks great, and you can see her journey on her IG. So like just check it out. You'll see what it was to where it's come. And so really great question. And I think you kind of already touched on it, but just reiterate your skin health now, 2 years post CAP in Toronto, colder climate, hot in the summer. How are you doing?
Honestly, I think if you told me when I, was in Singapore dealing with like my wounds and not being able to sweat, and if you told me that in 3, 4 years I would live a normal life and my skin would be better than it was in high school, I'd be like, no, like, shut up. Not possible. Like, if you told me I didn't have to use any medication for whatever reason, if you told me that I could eat anything I want and I wouldn't react, if you like, I just wouldn't believe you. And I think I'm like so grateful for where I am. And like, for example, this week I jumped in a lake,
Ah, in
swam
Muskoka?
At Muskoka,
Yay.
got up, didn't feel anything. Like I wasn't scared to jump in. Like I used to go swimming in the ocean with my broken skin and I would cry. Like, I wouldn't cry, but I would want to cry for the first 5 minutes. But I just loved it and I wanted to live. And now I'm like truly just living and like sweating, exercising, like eating whatever I want, waking up, like being excited, not scared for the day. Like I remember during TSW, I would be scared. Yeah, I would be scared to look in the mirror. I'd be scared to like look at what I did in my sleep. Like I would be so scared and I hated it. And I really, yeah, I think, yeah. And like now I wake up and I'm like so grateful. And I don't want to forget this feeling of just being just grateful for life. And yeah, I think during TSW there's times where, I just wanted to like fall asleep for like months and just like,
I said to my
wake me up
mom,
when this ends.
I said to my mom, because I didn't know what hardened skin was. I said, can we just take a
Yeah.
razor and like take this layer of whatever this calcified skin is off, like a razor? That's how, like, not because of depression. I was very positive, but it's just like, there's something here. I don't know what it is. Maybe we just take a razor and
Don't know
like
what it is.
take it off?
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
And
grateful
so
for
I
the
don't know.
moment. I'm grateful for the moment we just shared. Thank you.
Thank you. And like I don't ever want people to think that they won't be able to get better. I think there's just like there's CAP now which it didn't exist years ago for us. Um, and there's so much, well, anecdotal research today, but there is research being done. Um, and yeah, I'm just really grateful. I think like my life now is 10 times better than what it was before TSW because just like the new mindset, like honestly, I think about this a lot, but our bodies are amazing. Like our bodies are like trying to heal itself. Like our skin is proliferating at 10 times like a normal at a normal rate for us to like heal, and like our skin went from like red and purple to thick to like smooth to oil producing. Like it is crazy when you really think about it.
I know we had like gray skin. Now it's normalizing, the color is coming back. And so it just, I get you. I get you. I gotta ask,
Mm-hmm.
you are an
Mm-hmm.
ITSAN board member. I know ITSAN
Mm-hmm.
is focused and their primary focus needs to be getting topical steroid withdrawal recognized and acknowledged by governments and by other, institutions of relevance. And so that
Yeah.
needs to maintain and be the focus. But there is no healer for TSW except for time or using an immunosuppressant to get through the TSW symptoms. And now we have CAP, which I understand. We are the lucky few that are able to have access to it and benefit from it. But what kinds of conversations are happening around the ITSAN boardroom table right now as it relates to cold atmospheric plasma treatment, if I may?
Yeah, I think the conversations were always open to people trying therapies like we are. To be honest, we don't talk about it that much.
Okay.
Like I think they know it exists, like the board members know it exists. We are happy that people are able to go and get treatment. Um, we are always supportive of people's decisions, but we also, I think, realize how much of a privilege it is for people to get this treatment. For us, actually, the people on the board, they're quite scientifically focused. So it's really important for us to like get the research. And we're just, yeah, like you said, we're just focused on getting supporters recognizing TSW, right? We're trying to get like the diagnostic criteria for TSW, and then that will help people get the support they need to treat TSW. So like the team is building out the patient registry, and we're hoping that, this is the first step to quantifying the number of people around the world who have gone through TSW or are going through TSW, and then building out a longitudinal study to then track the symptoms of TSW, which is already like what Jay knows. Like Jay at the clinic has seen so many patients over time and
Yeah.
be able to look at these like symptoms. And our goal is to be able to do it in a um, highly scientific way so that we can get researchers and doctors to support people with TSW. That's honestly the biggest goal, and also like supporting the patients. Um, but yeah, I would say we're like super supportive of anything that people want to try, um, and really just focused on this
Yeah.
project, to be honest.
What can viewers do to help you guys? Is there any ask that you have?
Yeah, I think ITSAN is entirely volunteer based.
Right.
We have one employee that works 10 hours a week, but everyone else, like, we are so small. We're grassroots. We are a group of women, wives, mothers who all have other jobs. And we are just passionate about this. Like, we're either caregivers or patients. And we really need financial support because it's so important for us to be um, like be true to the community. We're not going to corporate, we're not going to pharma for funding. Like we want to have integrity for the community because we know how important that is, but we can't do it with zero anything. So for example, this patient registry, it's $10,000 just to get it up and running, and
Okay.
then $5,000 a year to keep it up and running. And
Okay.
this includes like the databases, this includes the platform, this includes the technology, everyone else that has been helping us build this patient registry. And these are all patients, these are researchers, these are like incredible PhD holders who are TSW patients. Like it is incredible.
Yeah.
Jeremy Brown, like that's just one person that's coming up in my mind. Janina, if you've like she's another TSW patient. She's out in the Netherlands. She's helping us. Pamela, I don't know why I'm giving out shout outs,
It's
but
okay.
it's just incredible. Like these
It's good.
these are all volunteers and it yeah. So I think if you're willing to volunteer with us, if you have some sort of like special skill, you want to like work on the social media, like reach out, send us an email. We're so happy um, to work with anybody. And it's just like a lot of fun. And it's just giving back to the community.
That's
So
good to
wow.
know because I think that even
Very passionate.
yeah, no, and it's really helpful because even just me watching and following the Itan community, you think of it as this like big beast. How do I even immerse myself into it? So I think you making it very real for people and just like put their hand up if they want to help and they have skills to contribute, you'd welcome it.
Yeah.
So, Michelle,
Yeah.
in closing, do you have any pearls of wisdom, any advice for viewers, people considering CAP? Again, I understand how much of a privilege it is for us to be able to be going through this, but any final closing thoughts before I let you go?
Yeah. I think like trust your gut. You know, when I started CAP, it really, I feel so lucky and I didn't really know much about it, but I trusted like what I saw. You know, I trusted my body and how it reacted to it. And I think if you have the opportunity to try this, like try it or at least have a consultation, you know, better understand what this treatment means. Educate yourself before making that decision, but ultimately like trust your intuition because you know your body best. And I think just from like a TSW standpoint, like take care of yourself. I think I was so hard on myself. It was so difficult to show myself compassion when I felt like I was falling behind socially, when I felt like I was being too much of a hermit, when I was disappointed in myself for having a flare up, which sounds ridiculous. But like be easy on yourself, take care of yourself and like have faith because you will get better.
I have to
Yeah.
ask you one more thing that just came to me. When you were in the thick
Yeah.
of TSW and going through CAP and you could see kind of like a line of sight near the end, was there something that you're like, I have to do this after I heal? And have you done it?
I don't know if I had any like crazy goal, but I think I just wanted to like live my life. Like I just wanted to run. I just wanted to be free. I just wanted to be light and airy and spontaneous and like I think I'm doing that. I think
Right.
I'm doing it. It's not anything crazy, but like I don't know, I just want to do everything that I want to do.
Well, your WhatsApp photo is you in front of the White House, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, so you're
Yeah.
living life.
There's one thing actually that TSW, like the biggest thing that I've taken from TSW is that when you get better, which you are going to get better, Leah, like you're going to be able to do anything. Like anything you want, you're going to be able to do it because you're going to go through the hardest thing. You're like, this is going to be because of you. Like, you're going to have faith in something bigger than yourself.
Mm.
Like, the sky's the limit at this point. Like, you want to be prime minister, you're going to be prime minister. You know what I mean? Like, nothing can
Yeah,
stop you. I swear.
I know.
Like,
I feel it. I feel it.
TSW is the beast. Yeah.
Jill, thanks for your time. It's Friday night. Go let your hair down. And it really just such a pleasure to meet a fellow Canadian who has trailblazed this journey for so many of us. And just thank you for sharing your experience.
Thank you. I so appreciate it.
Thanks for tuning in. For more stories such as this, please follow my IG.